Let's bring in Kit Miyamoto now, who's joining us from Davis, California. He's the global CEO of Miyamoto International, a structural engineering and disaster risk reduction firm. So, Kit, these are early days, but right now we have evidence before us of some concrete cracking right underneath the building, major damage in the pool deck area, a design flaw that's related to how water drains around the base of the building, the corrosion that comes with ocean air, and the building sinking possibly 6 centimeters since the 1990s. So of all of these things, which really concern you?
Well, all the above, actually. I mean, I went through a 2018 report. It's a very credible report showing the what type of damage they saw. Essentially, the water drainage of that pool deck area was not very good, and because there's no slope, and there's so a lot of concrete deterioration in the structural elements also. Now, why that deck is important? Because underneath of this deck, actually, there's a full parking garage. It's actually the footprint of a building is much bigger than the tower itself. So it's actually a very important piece of the information because as you saw the video, the failure initiated from the center of a building. You know, just everything collapsed down to it. And support this column at the lower level appears to be failed. That's where the initiation is. So if the deck decks are kind of a framing to the column, which supporting decks all over the places, right? If this column, if the decks detach or fails, it's actually to create a very unstable condition. So that could be one potential, potential reasons of failures. And obviously, I have to get into much more details to understand the true mechanism of it. But that's definitely not very good. And but however, I think city and everybody reacted correctly though, because 2020, 2021, I saw the actual design plan showing that how they actually tried to remedy that condition actually. But unfortunately, that's a little bit, was too late for this particular case here.
Shouldn't there
But
have
they're in the
been,
process of it.
right, shouldn't there have been major warning signs that would have been obvious and alarming well before this? I mean, the entire thing, one day it's standing and then all of a sudden it just goes down to rubble. Wouldn't someone have noticed something beforehand?
So I mean, that's how I was wondering about that, because they're talking about settlement and stuff like that, right? If the settlement, you're going to see the major cracks in like walls and columns and all that stuff. And the parking garage being used, which is the basement area. So if anything, the major settlement or failures, anyone can see that. You don't have to be an engineer to say, oh, something bad thing is going on. Only things I heard is a couple residents, who heard some noises, some big noises, either same day or day before. But again, if the deck is somehow deteriorate through, if there's something detached to the column or post or pillars, wherever you go, that will cause a very, very unstable condition. The columns could buckle it, So that's something that engineers need to be essentially peeled off into the evidence of a failure, which is we know exactly the location is, and understand what the failure columns are. And it's essentially you have to simulate in a computer station to see how actually things went in. But that's most likely that would be that kind of things happening in there. But I think what's the important thing here is the maintenance, right? Which they are in the process of this, maintenance of this building. And the maintenance is really a critical part of it. And I must say, Miami-Dade County, their maintenance policy is something probably best in the world. I've never come across any places requiring the 40-year safety assessment and recertification and the repairs and stuff like that. This is probably the only one in the world, actually. So it's definitely the maybe 40 years was not maybe, I guess, short enough, I think that would be a potential case here.
Yeah, but if a building of that age is only deeply inspected after 40 years, that's a substantial amount of time. Do you happen to know in this particular area if they were being inspected more frequently? Because this really calls into question the quality and frequency of these kinds of checks.
I agree. I agree completely. I'm sure that they're going to probably look the statute of 40 years to maybe a little bit shorter. Stuff like that would have actually happening in it. But again, I have to emphasize that that program they have is something something you don't see though anywhere. But here.
Yeah.
So I can see they're doing the best they could have done, I think, and they had a plans to fix it, but just timing didn't quite
Right.
work out.
God, I know, it's so
Such a
tragic. Yeah, so
tragic, such
and
a
you know
tragic.
this is going to raise questions all across the country. Kit, thanks for your time.